Hi, welcome to the garden. Glad to see you're here again today. It's the 1st of March. So we're out of February, and right now we're in a really interesting cycle. And I know I try to throw in a lot of different things, and I'm not an astrologer, nor do I even play one on TV. But all the planets have been direct since Mercury got out of being retrograde on February 20th. And that means all planets. Nobody's going retrograde. Nobody's got the nasty little R beside them. And the next retrograde will not be until April 27th. And that's when Pluto goes retrograde. And when those big planets, those way far out ones go, they go for months. But in the summer, we tend to have Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn, and sometimes Neptune go retrograde. But we are in a blessed period of all planets sort of moving the way they used to in your grade school when you made the little planets go round and round and round the solar system. So that means that the planets will be direct for 66 days. It doesn't mean that there won't be intense energy, because if you know a little bit about astrology, you know that squares and oppositions and those things all can cause some sort of conflict. And we have some planets in some troubling signs, but it means we don't have that redo, rethink, remove, renovate, all that stuff is kind of out of the picture till the 27th of April. So I hope that makes everybody kind of feel a little bit happier. When I realized it yesterday, when I was looking at some stuff, and I went, oh, that's wonderful, because I do not ever remember in my entire whole life, which is a long time, us not having a retrograde planet somewhere. And of course, everybody knows Mercury retrograde, which it gets a lot of grief for being retrograde. Although this last retrograde was a retrograde, I needed to have go retrograde so that I can totally bask in 66 days of everything going direct. So good time to get things started, good times to get things going. I'm back doing my own personal 9 candles, which if you want to know about 9 candles, go back down through my programs. At some point, I'm going to put up a viewing list and clump all those things together. I just don't have time right now. I have 13 grids leaving my house today into the post office, and some going international even. Woo, what fun. So anyway, I'm ready for direct good energy. I'm ready for a lot of things to go in the right direction. So hopefully that's where we're all headed. And I just thought I'd let you know that little bit of business. The other thing is, I've had someone ask me about Bloodstone. And I think it's a real pretty stone. I don't have a good sample of it, but I do have a good pictorial sample of it. It's that stone right there. It's a dark green and a red kind of mixed together. I don't know if you can see the red and the green mixed better on the other picture. That's a book from, that's a picture from Crystals, A Modern Guide to Crystal Healing. And bloodstones have courage, which you would figure from the name's Bloodstone. A mysticism, they detox people, and they are there for protection. And they have, they're kind of a magical stone like you'd expect to come out of Middle Earth or Harry Potter or something like that. That's the sort of energy of it. It wards off negative energy. It strengthens you. It strengthens your immune system, invigorates your blood, and energizes one's life. So if you're feeling kind of blah and you want to get going in these 66 days of direct planets, maybe Bloodstone would be a good stone to go find out about. It's green, it's flecked with red. I've seen some that are a lot red, some are a little bit red. And it corresponds, since it's green and red, it corresponds with the heart chakra. Heart chakra is green, and the red would be the heart, because pink is the other color kind of that's in the heart chakra. If you do wear an amulet of Bloodstone, or you wear it as a ring, or you get one of those little beady bracelets that they do that of a certain stone, it is a stone that needs to be cleansed. It repels negativity, but it also draws negativity out of you. It detoxes, that's the word for that. And so it needs to be cleaned periodically. And it is a stone that Mohs factor is high enough it can tolerate water. So rinsing it in some cool water and then drying it off is a very good way to deal with it. Do not expose it to any chemicals or acids or anything like that. It's not that kind of heavy duty. And I don't know why you'd want to do that to a pretty rock anyway. But if you want to rinse it clean and get rid of whatever energy it's stored up, that's a way to cleanse it. You can also cleanse it with sage or sound, singing bowls, things like that. That'll work. And the other use of a bloodstone is to focus on developing your own inner magician. That transformation. It in crystalmancy, which is something I've been looking at. Crystalmancy is where you take crystals and you cast them out and you read what they're saying to you. Crystalmancy, in a crystalmancy book, well, article I read about crystalmancy, it said bloodstone, when it appears in that form, when you cast it as a stone for information, it says distressing news is on the way. But I don't know that that's necessarily true. It may just show that you need something to protect you from negativity. You have to be real careful about these simple word definitions of crystals or cards or anything like that. I'm going to look some more into crystalmancy. It kind of fascinates me, and because I deal with the stones all the time, and I can tell you there are days when the stones just come together and they do everything they're supposed to do, and then there's some days that they want to argue with me and my intentions. So I'm going to be looking a little bit more into crystalmancy, and it's crystal and then mancy, M-A-N-C-Y. If you read plain regular 52 deck playing cards, that's called cardomancy, C-A-R-D-O, mancy. So when you see that mancy words, it means somebody's doing something spooky and psychic with something you didn't expect that to happen to. I know this is kind of a short thing today, but I did spend all weekend getting grids out, and I'm now back into my reading cycle. But I'm going to be working on some other request shows for specific stones. Like I said, I'm looking into crystalmancy to see if I can figure out anybody who's developed an organized way to deal with that. I remember seeing at psychic fairs people who read crystals, but they did it slightly different fashion than anything I've been able to find, and they were going totally on color. So that's kind of it for the day from the garden. Not a whole lot of fun stuff going on. Just getting ready to start up doing some real work again. Although I consider mailing out grids, boxing them up, typing out all their descriptions, getting all their letters in a row, and getting everybody the information they need to be able to use their grid to be exhausting. I'd much rather build the grid than write about what I built. But we're working on it, and I'm working on some new shows for y'all. So I look forward to coming back and seeing me again. I cannot thank you enough to the people who subscribed and have shared and have helped my numbers to grow. I really appreciate that. I also have, if you don't want to buy anything in particular, but you appreciate what I talk about, I have a Venmo and I have a PayPal Connect at the bottom of the page. And if you would like to help keep these programs up, I'd appreciate it. Appreciate anything that you can help me with. And other than that, I can't think of anything. Oh yes, thank you to Lilac Lantern, Andrea, for having me on her show last week. Next time I go on her show, I'm going to start with you guys the week before and have a list of questions. Her people are kind of like the people who watch her show normally. They don't quite know what to make of the crystal thing. So if we could sort of give them some questions to help guide, that would be lovely. And I'm going to start doing some more card reading things in conjunction with crystals. I've got I'm going to be doing a past life reading for someone soon. Oh, and the people who volunteered to be part of my past life thing that I was going to do, it ends up that the channel that I'm going to be on, it's a private one, and they can't invite anybody else in. You have to belong to the group. So we're going to have to work that out from their end to get me someone to read. But I really appreciate how many of you were interested in having a past life reading. And depending on how it goes, I might pull one of your names out and say, you want to do a side-by-side with me. Side-by-side means you're on the show. I record the show with you on there so you can give me feedback. I can't read to a nothing. I can't read to a name that I make up. If I'm going to do somebody's past life, I need to have someone there who's had a past life. It's simple as that. I mean, probably not an astounding fact, but there, are people who can say, well, suppose the situation was this is how it could lay out. I'm not very good at hypothetical readings at all. Like, I suck at it. So, if I do study at past life readings, I have a couple different ways I do it. And also, I'm going to start going through a book. I have a book that's 365 readings, different ways to read cards. And there's one for each day of the year. So I'm going to start working with that book and giving people more insight into that part of tarot, because we kind of get down to yes, no's, four squares, and Celtic crosses. And that may not be, that those things may not answer every question, or there may be another way to lay the cards out that's more meaningful. So that's where I am. That's what we're up to. And I look forward to hearing from you in the future. If you would like to comment on what you'd like to hear about, I'd appreciate it. And thank you so much for supporting my channel and for being here today.